Hi, good day to you all. I'm very excited to be here, also very excited that so many of you took the time to listen to me. When I was asked to stay here and present to you, I was thinking about, okay, what can I tell you that's meaningful, interesting, because you probably know you go to some master classes and afterwards you think, I asked for some more. So hopefully, I put this in a nutshell for the 20 minutes that I will be talking. If there are any questions afterward, I also planned a Q&A. But now I want to take you on a journey. I started 2 years ago, and I want to take you on my journey how I developed my e-com business together with my team. Before I do that, I will talk a little bit about my background, also a little insights into BVB merchandising and also merchandising in general, so you understand what the business looks like. And then I will take you on 2 journeys. One is talent, so really about the people in my e-com team, and the second of topics is our special jersey. So I'm already wearing it. I don't know who of you have been in queue last Friday and last Sunday or Saturday, so at least one. So I will take you on the journey, how we started in 2019, what were the lessons learned, and why we keep on stepping into problems again and again. So I hope that's very interesting for you. And as I said, I will just start with a quick introduction of myself so you understand who I am. You see on the left side and also on the right side the BVB sign. So I'm a homegrown talent of Borussia Dortmund, I would say, even though I didn't spend the whole time at Borussia Dortmund. When I started in 2001, I was a temp in ticketing, so really selling tickets every day to the fans in person, not like you saw before online. That was a minor business at that time. So this was really my start at Borussia Dortmund. I'm from Dortmund, so of course for me a dream come true. I had then a chance to do a training as an office clerk, did that for 2 years, but then I decided, I came at the point where I said, okay, either I do a dual study or I do a full-time study, and I decided to do that in sport management at the University of Bielefeld. And in that time, I kept on working at Borussia Dortmund, but at this time in the finance department. In the meantime, during my study, I did 2 internships, one at Adidas and one at Nike. I also had the opportunity to have my master thesis together with Adidas. In the end, I ended up with Nike, spent 9 years or almost 10 years together with Nike in various sales positions. So really at the front line, selling to small customers every day. At the end, it was a really strategic position, selling in 9 different European countries to a huge customer. At that point, and you can tell my background was sports. In 2018, I decided, okay, I need to leave sports behind. I wanted to check out other industries. And for me, going to a consultant agency was the best. So I ended up at Accenture, also switched sides from sales now to sourcing and procurement. And in that time, I had the chance to be in a talent program. And there they asked, okay, what's your favorite dream? What do you dream of for your job? And with my background of sales and sourcing and procurement, I came back to my home idea of, okay, it would be merchandising at Borussia Dortmund. So really combining merchandising or really combining sourcing and the sales part. My predecessor left, he moved to Milan, and so it was my chance 2 years ago that I really make this dream come true, and since then I'm ever living this dream. And now I want to take you on the journey. First of all, a little introduction, what is merchandising, so everybody of you understands this piece. I always tell my team that we are selling the emotions, that we are selling the product, we are selling our star players to our fans. They need to understand that everything that we sell ends up at our fans for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's at their house. So we have the responsibility to make great products. We do this, of course, together with our partner Puma. But everything that you see in the background, for example, is done by our sourcing and procurement team. So they not only source the product, they have the ideas, they do the design. So that's our sourcing and procurement team. I have a huge sales team, so out of the 120 employees that work for the BVB merchandising, lots of it is in the sales team. We operate 6 stores on our own. Of course, most of the employees work in our stores, especially also with temps when it comes to game days. But we also have, of course, the e-com part that I will be talking about. The other 2 sales teams that we have is the licensing team. So, selling the BVB logo to companies that produce products that we either don't want to produce or that we can't produce. For example, food is something it's a little bit tricky with German law, for example. So we have a licensing partner there. And the 4th team is our B2B team. So everything selling to Intersport, to Galleria, etc. So that's the sales team in general. We work together with a third party for logistics, but of course this interface also has to be managed. So we have our own logistics team working on that. And then we have an integrated marketing team. As I said, in general or in total, we talk about 120 employees throughout the year. And with this great responsibility that my team has, understanding of being the owner of what will be a gift to someone or what does a fan buy, with this great responsibility, of course, you need to know how to operate it. You see, there's no HR, there's no finance, etc. So this is done by the mother company. So we can really concentrate on our core business. Now we go into a little bit of the numbers, just a tiny bit. As you can see, or in 2021-22 season, Borussia Dortmund accounted for over 350 million sales. Out of this, 9% is the share of business that we did with our merchandising, so roughly around 33 million business. On the second side, you see, and that's really how Corona fueled our e-com business. Before Corona, our e-com business accounted for 30% of our sales in merchandising. Now, after Corona, we had a share at 52%, so putting on over 20% in share of business on it. And we have 3 million visitors per year on our page. So just think, when you're at Zalando, when you're About You, the numbers are small. Probably also when you think about Borussia Dortmund, you always think in superlatives. You think about the players, about how much money they get, how much money is in the business, our big stadium with 81,000 people. So Borussia Dortmund is, when you put it in a head, everybody has something that they think about, but it's usually something superlative. And in merchandising, it's a little bit smaller. And that's also what I wanted to talk to you about today, compared to other companies that are not, I would call it digital natives, or just concentrating on the e-com part because we have so much more around it. Of course, we face the same problems and same challenges that all the other companies with the same size face. So this is really what I want to talk about now. I said one thing is talents. When I started 2 years ago, we had 5 employees taking care of our e-com part. At first, it sounds okay, 5, but these 5 were not only doing our e-com page, they were doing campaigns, they did our marketplaces, they did all our social media activities, at least in regards to the shops. And then I think this puts 5 people really into relation of a business of over 10 million at that time, being run by 5 people. So that's really a key point for me, what we changed when I started. Also, out of these 5 people, we had 1 expert that was native from what they learned in a digital space. That was someone who was responsible for Amazon, so not even on our e-com part. All the other 4 had nothing to do with e-com in the past. So this also comes from BVB being grown over a couple of years, especially in the club era. They have to say there were a lot of generalists in the past. And then at some point, especially fueled through Corona, you had to say, okay, but now you need specialists to drive the growth, to drive the business further. And this was missing. So we had these 4 plus 1 generalists, and we were missing really someone with a technical background, for example. You would probably laugh when I say the person who was responsible to manage our third party who ran the shop, making the interface to Shopware and Shopmacher. This person was initially hired to be a content manager, so no technical background. It's probably not fair for him, but let's make it easy, no technical background, but he had to manage. He had to talk with them at eye level, etc. Made it really hard when you do a change request, for example, challenging, this costs 10 man days, for example, and if you're not an expert, you can only say, yeah, probably, that's right. So that was one thing that we changed directly. We hired a technical product owner who was then able to really talk with them on eye level. That was one thing. Then the second part is we have, let's call it challenging IT setup and a challenging ERP system. But what we can do is still work on our customer journey. So probably 5 years ago, no one at Borussia Dortmund would have thought that we would be hiring an UX designer. But that's what we did 1.5 years ago, because if you have a shitty system, to put it in direct words, at least you have to find your way around to make it look good, to work on your customer journey. So that's what we did. We had the latest achievements of integrating a shop by player, for example. So now if you're a fan of Bellingham, you go on Shop by Player, you go on Bellingham, you see all the products that are from him. You are even able to buy his look. So there's some images, you have the direct link to shop the look. So tiny, tiny things for someone like Zalando About You, but huge for a business of Borussia Dortmund, especially when it comes to customer journey, for example. Because keep in mind, we are the ones selling the products that the fan will have 365 days. So that was another point. In before, we also did our performance marketing with an agency, but like marketing in these days, it was like going everywhere. So we spent a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. We had no strategy on the countries, etc. We had no strategy on the channels, for example. So we really worked on our strategy. We found a good partner who's now working into this strategy. We cut more or less all of our international ambition in regards to performance marketing and really concentrate on a couple of countries. And then the money goes directly into the channels that we need. So that was also one step when we talk about talents or specialists, because that's what needed at, or was missing at the time. So this just for you to get a little bit an understanding of how important people are, especially when we talk about a business where you say it's not 100% e-com driven. Of course, in our strategy, e-com is a big, big part, but Borussia Dortmund is much more than just our online shop. So that's the one journey. The second journey, as I said earlier, is our special jersey. Our special jerseys, and I hope it's with the animation it's not getting you too weird. A special jersey, I don't know if all of you know what it is. According to the DFL regulatories, a team is allowed to have 3 different jerseys other than the normal home and away jersey. So in the past, for example, 1&1, our sponsor, did a rainbow to show diversity, for example. But also Borussia Dortmund came up with 3 jerseys in the last 4 years that were completely different. What you see on the left side is our 2019 coal and steel, complete black and black jersey. Of course, you had to have the number to be seen by the referees, but overall black and black. In 2019, as I said, it's for the 110th birthday of Borussia Dortmund. And I don't know if anybody of you tried to buy one at that time. You haven't? Okay, so you just recently got attention. What happened? And that's the journey I want to talk about because of the lessons learned. We put our online store in, and we were overrun. We launched it directly. The game started at 3:30 Saturday, normal game time. Players took off the coats, people got crazy and went online trying to get the jersey. At that time, we weren't so sophisticated to say, okay, we put X amount of thousands of jerseys on it, so it was limited to 9,009. We didn't have a tool to understand how many people are in the queue, so we were just overrun. Downtime of the shop wasn't a problem at that time, but what happened, because you got all the orders at one time, and we don't have a system that was running or funneling the orders, we oversold by 4,000. So almost 50% of the jerseys that we oversold. And we had to go back to fans saying, sorry, we don't have it. Especially because we also communicated it's limited. We were not able to just produce it afterwards and say, here you go, please just wait a couple of months and then you have it. That was not an option. So we had to write 4,000 fans. We are sorry, our IT systems got your order, but we were not able. We took our lessons learned from this. We worked together with QIT to put a queue in front of our shop. And then you are able to say, okay, per minute you open the shop for, let's say, 50 customers. And then we hoped, okay, system will not break down. That was our intention. It worked, at least for the first couple of minutes. But as I said before, our IT system might not be the best. We ended up with over 250,000 people in our queue. But somehow the product was missing. So you waited, you didn't see the product, got lost somewhere between the traffic, our system, the system of software. So we had to shut down our systems, hope that with the backup it gets back up again. It worked, but it took 5 hours. So for 5 hours, our fans were waiting in line. The queue didn't move forward, so of course you can imagine the shitstorm on Twitter, etc., saying, system looks like it's shut down. And this over a period of 5 hours. It was pretty long, and you can imagine the specialists and talents that I was talking about earlier. Not such a good idea, especially when you think you did your lessons learned and now you are prepared and then something like this happens. After 5 hours, we were able to put it up again, worked through the queue, we didn't oversell, so first point taken. This time also with QIT, we were able to now know how many people were at our page at that time and were waiting in the queue. So the 250,000 gave us a little bit of a background, and then we said, of course, because we didn't communicate this time, it's limited. We then decided, okay, we open up a reorder. So fans who weren't able to buy from the first jerseys were able to buy it with the lead time of, I think it was 3 to 4 months, and we worked together with Puma to say, okay, they produce again, and everybody will get the second jersey. A second jersey, you could also think, yeah, it's black again, but it has the neon sleeves. So it was a reference to our Champions League victory in 1997. And then all the way from your right side, the jersey that I'm wearing today as well, we launched it on Friday. Also lessons learned, not launching the jersey directly at the game. So people of our fans want to watch the game and they want to buy the jersey. So we launched it the day earlier. No, it was on Saturday, sorry. We show the product first on Friday, and then we have it on sale on Saturday, and game was on Sunday. So I was asking earlier who was in the queue, who noticed. It's just one of you. I got so many messages, especially with me being in the agenda of the Ecom Expo, asking me, hey, do you need help in the future? We can help you. I was like, yeah, Thank you. So I had a hope that more of people experiencing what we experienced on Sunday would be in the audience, but nevertheless. So what happened on Sunday? On Sunday, it was not the game day, it was a Saturday. We also opened it in our store, so taking a little bit of the traffic away from our online store. We had our queue perfectly set up, all fine. 10 o'clock we started, I think 10:01, breakdown. You were not able to see the queue. You just got bad gateway error. So at this point, no possibility from our side to communicate to the fan. Not able to giving them a text. So of course you then have to go to Twitter and Instagram again to communicate. And what happened this time? This time we have two shops. We have our national one for the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and we have an international store. For some reason, the traffic in the international store wasn't funneled to a limit of 50 people per minute. So we had huge impact on our international store, breaking down the whole system. So downtime this time was just 1 hour in the national store. The international store, because we didn't know what happened there, we had to take down for 4 days, so it just went back online yesterday. So good for us that the international business is rather small compared to the national one, but still being offline 4 days is quite some time. But what happened afterwards? From the 250,000 that I talked about in 2021, we had over 400,000 people waiting in queue, wanting to get the product. You can imagine, we don't have 400,000 jerseys. So we were sold out at, I think 7 p.m. in the evening. And then, of course, with this huge line and also lining up fans at our stores, we then thought, okay, let's talk with Puma again, if we can reorder again. So what we did in the evening, just after the last jersey was sold out, we were able to put up a new product saying, okay, now you can buy it. Again, lead time of almost 5 to 6 months, but now fans are able to get this jersey. It's still running up. If you want to buy it and you think it looks perfect, then please go to our store. You can order it until the 28th of February. And to give you an estimate, we're now talking about 150,000 jerseys currently that we will sell of this jersey. So in regards to what we usually sell, it will be for decades probably the most sold jersey that we have. I can't tell you when we will plan the next special jersey, because that's always something that especially Footy Headlines is really aware of and keen to know. But it will be interesting what kind of challenges we will be facing then. So I hope with the different steps of learnings, it was for you an insight that you probably don't have if you don't follow it, and also gives everybody who maybe sometimes feel we don't have the best systems, etc. Think about Borussia Dortmund, the huge Borussia Dortmund. They have the same challenges like you have. So I hope this also gives you a good feeling, and I hope you had a good time. I thought it was kind of interesting for you, so thank you very much for being here. If there are any questions, please go ahead. I think Shaila will do the microphone.
Who has the first question?
Thank you. My name is Pierre Engama. I'm from Berlin. I'm a big fan from Borussia Dortmund, but I have a question that you didn't mention in your presentation. It is about the finance. My question is, how was the negotiation with Puma? Because now that you are selling your own product, and we know that one of the motivation why we are so motivated in e-commerce, it is about the profit that we are doing. But now I think Borussia Dortmund negotiating the price with Puma, how was it? Is it the mass so big that it is a profitable business for Borussia Dortmund? That is my question. Thank you.
So just to understand, you asked about the partnership of Borussia Dortmund and Puma, right?
Yes.
And how it's working. Yeah.
Yes, and the precision is most about the pricing, the marge that Borussia Dortmund is doing, because I think you didn't mention it in your presentation.
You mean the price on the jersey? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the usual jersey costs 85 euros that we produce together with Puma. I think the highest prices, if I recall it correctly, is currently done by Union Berlin in their cooperation with Adidas. I think it's a little bit more than 100. With a special jersey, we had to move to 90 euros, so upcharge of 5%. But it had nothing to do with a special jersey. Of course, now with the inflation kicking in directly at this time, so all jerseys in the future will also cost 90 euros. What we also offer together with this jersey is a box, very nice. Check out some pictures of it, very high quality. And you also got a little cold piece with a Borussia Dortmund logo on it. So I think it's worth the upcharge of 5 euros. But as I said, all the other jerseys will be at 90 euros next season as well.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the very interesting chat. My question was in terms of, again, moving back to the commercial agreement with Puma. In terms of making just being in a commercial agreement with Puma, how much of a possibility is there also to have collaborations with other merchandising companies that are creating maybe not the jerseys, but other products? Is that something that you also consider, or is it just in the agreement with Puma that it has to be Puma design? Thank you.
Yeah. So I take two questions out of it. So first of all, is the design thing or design part. We do all the designs together with Puma. So especially when it comes to the jerseys, of course, this is our 100% focus. Maybe not so much on every training piece, but the jersey, we do it together. And of course, you can't put in history of a club without the club telling Puma how we need it. The second part of your question is then more about the commercial partnership you asked. Sorry, I forgot it. Can you ask again? Sorry.
Like considering the commercial agreement.
Yeah, the collaborations, right?
What other possibilities are there for collaborations with other companies?
Yeah, now I got you again. So of course you can imagine there's a blacklist with competitors of Puma. Wouldn't make sense to do something with Nike, Adidas, etc. But of course, there are also not so obvious companies like an outdoor company, etc. So there's a blacklist on the one side, but of course there are possibilities for other collaborations. So what we did in the past, for example, was one with Snoopy. We also did one cooperation with SpongeBob. We are also planning other cooperations in the future, also with fashion companies. But it always has to be a dialogue. So Puma is our #1 partner, and of course, you don't put risk on this partnership by coming up with something else. But for example, our hats and beanies we do together with New Era, and you would also say there's some competition. But yeah, these kind of cooperations are possible.
All right, we have one last question.
Hi. Robin here. I have a question about, sorry, closer. I have a question about the shirts. So the first shirt is probably sold out most of the time, or in pre-order, or delivers later. But what are you doing? What's your strategy on selling the second and the third shirt? Is there like a strategy in place for all the people that couldn't buy the first shirt?
Yeah, so when we started with selling the shirt, our strategy was we will not open it again. So on the second jersey, there was no plan for this, but then we said, okay, now we know how much fan demand is there. So it was a really overnight decision, let's open it up. For the third jersey, we always said, because it's a special materials, this jacquard, Puma said, no way that we can buy the texture again. we called them, can you do it? Yes, we can do it. So there was no strategy. It was really just pleasing the fan demand. So really making it possible for every fan to buy this jersey.